Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kev's Movie Corner. I am Kev and this week we are talking about In the Heat of the Night. This movie came out in 1967. It stars Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger. Directed by Norman Jewison. Jewison? I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. It's based off a John Ball book from 1965 of the same name, a novel. This is a mystery drama. Poitier plays a Philadelphia a murder detective, homicide detective from Philadelphia, Detective Virgil Tibbs, who is visiting Mississippi to see his mother when he gets caught up in a murder investigation. And the police chief, Chief Bill Gillespie, played by Rod Steiger, ends up, even though he doesn't really want it, ends up using his help to solve this murder. There is a lot of, this is the 1960s, there is a lot of racism. It is kind of a tale on, how racist people were back in the South in those days. There was actually a problem with that at the time. So, that was an issue for an actual issue that we'll get into later in this, it's one of the facts that I have about this, an actual issue that was going on at the time. But, this movie, was nominated for 7 Oscars. It won 5, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Steiger won Best Actor, Best Title Song, which was performed by Ray Charles, which also was nominated for a Grammy. So, it won several awards. It was highly touted as a good movie. It's right at, or right under 2 hours. It's an hour and 50 minutes. Really good film to watch. But anyway, we'll get into it here. So Poitier's character, Tibbs, Virgil Tibbs, he is at the train station. So you've got kind of a montage going on to do the opening credits. You've got an officer who is starting out at a diner, makes his evening rounds. As he's going through his evening rounds, he comes across a dead body in town square. Not in town square, but in the middle of town. At this point, he calls in the chief. The chief tells him, go check the pool hall, go check the depots, make sure, see, maybe this was just a drifter or whatever. When he checks the train depot, he sees Poitier, who is a black man, who has a lot of money on him, and immediately arrests him. Doesn't ask any questions, finds him with a lot of money, and he's dressed in a suit, so he's very nicely dressed. He doesn't look like a drifter or anything. He looks like a well-dressed man, and takes him into the police station for questioning. Accuses him immediately of being the murderer. As soon as he gets into the police station, the chief also accuses him of being the murderer. Tells him just, it'll be a lot easier if he just tells him why he murdered this man, who, by the way, is a millionaire who is overseeing the having a factory built in the town. So this town is this guy that was murdered is actually a big shot and is kind of needed for this town because he's building a factory for these people to work in. So, anyway, Poitier reveals that he is a police officer in Philadelphia, and that's why he has so much money, is because he gets paid pretty well to be a police officer in Philadelphia, detective. They end up calling his chief, who offers his services to help with the murder. At first, the police chief in Sparta, in Mississippi, doesn't want it. Tibbs doesn't want to offer it either. He says, well, they don't want my help. They don't really want his help either, so it's kind of a back and forth. They really are kind of a little prejudiced against each other. Neither one of them want to help each other. Neither one of them want the other's help. So, but eventually they reluctantly start to work together. And Tibbs starts looking into the murder. He goes and inspects the body. As this is going on, everybody is very hesitant to work around him. They don't want to work with him. They don't want to help him with anything. And it just keeps kind of building. Nobody, every time he meets a new person, they don't want to help him with anything. Eventually, the police arrest another man as Tibbs gets information back from the FBI crime lab. They arrest another man who has the victim's wallet on him. He claims he just picked it up. And he tells the victim's wife that he just picked it up. Victim's wife is very upset because she's just been informed that her husband is murdered. Tibbs says that it's not him. He just picked up the wallet. He says that it's, there's no evidence that this guy did anything wrong. He has an alibi. He also has, evidence that shows that he didn't do anything wrong. He can kind of prove to a certain extent that he didn't because he's got information from the FBI. And the widow tells the mayor that if this detective leaves, that she will take the factory somewhere else, which will devastate the town. So they beg him to stay, which he does. The chief plays to his sensibilities, to proving people wrong, proving the rest of them wrong, that he does actually know what he's doing. And that's how they get him to stay. He investigates. He ends up coming up with the idea that a rich plantation owner in the area, cotton plantation owner, is a suspect because the victim was at his home the night of the murder. He goes up to the plantation and confronts the plantation owner. Plantation owner smacks him when he says something that he doesn't like. Tibbs smacks him back, and the plantation owner gets very upset and basically calls out the sheriff to pretty much shoot him on sight, and gets mad when the sheriff doesn't, and calls him out and says that he could have had Tibbs shot. There was a time where he could have had him shot on sight for slapping him, and seems very upset that he can't now, because he is a very racist old man. So, just after this, he says that he knows that this old man is the suspect, or is the guilty party, and the sheriff kind of points out that he's also prejudiced. He's also being prejudiced and trying to go after this old man, even though he really doesn't have a whole lot of evidence that it is him either. So, movie keeps going. Tibbs ends up having a couple run-ins with local boys who corner him a couple of times and try to attack him. try to kill him. The sheriff steps in the first time. Luckily, is able to step in and get the boys to leave him alone. The second time it happens is when Tibbs actually finds out or reveals what actually happens. Before that, you have one of the officers get arrested for the murder. When Tibbs finds him in a lie, the chief arrests one of his own officers. By the way, this whole outfit down in Mississippi, this whole police station, doesn't seem like it could investigate its way out of a paper bag most of the time. So they're arresting people left and right with very little evidence, very circumstantial evidence. So it's, kind of how it goes most of the time. They end up, Tibbs ends up figuring out who it is that murdered the victim, and confronts them as he's being confronted by a mob who are trying to kill him. And they end up shooting at each other. The suspect ends up killing another man at the same time, and before he's taken into custody. And all the other kind of mob kids, all the other people drive off without hurting Tibbs, because he has a gun at this point, because he takes the gun away from the suspect. So, and they get a confession, and they go about this. They go about booking him, and then the chief puts Tibbs on a train back to Philadelphia, and that's where the movie ends. I know that's a, very insufficient synopsis of this. Obviously, it's what we always do, but really good movie, really good drama. 1960, what did I say? 7. It does not look like it came out in 1967. Really well done. It's one of the first movies that they changed the lighting for a black actor to adjust for him, like to be a lead actor, so that you would be able to see him, which is cool. Like it looks really well, and it does not, like I said, it does not look like it is more than almost 60 years old now. Like it does not look like that. Usually if you watch a movie from the 60s, it looks like it's from the 60s, but this one they did a really good job with, and it does not look like that. This movie actually turned into a television show. I'm trying to see how long that ran. There was 2 sequels, one in 1970 and one in 1971. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs in The Organization. Neither were based on the sequel books that were based on, and they didn't do as well in the box office or critically. But this, it was preserved in the Academy Film Archive in 1997 and selected for to be preserved by the Library of Congress in 2002. So this is it was a good movie. Again, I need to, where is it at? Where does it say how long the show ran after this? Yeah. drama series. So the TV show did not star the same people. It starred two different people. It ran from 1988 to 1995. So it actually didn't start up for 20 years after this movie ran. So that's a while. But it did run for, it looks like 11 years. So that's a good amount of time that it was on air. So yeah. I don't know if that's worth watching, but it ran for 11 years, so apparently it did okay. Movie is definitely worth a watch, especially if you like a drama, something, a mystery, something like that. So I talked about how this movie is very, it has a lot of racist themes in it. So that was actually a problem in the filming as well. So Poitier insisted that they film in the north because he had actually been almost killed by the KKK during a visit to Mississippi. So they ended up filming in Sparta, Illinois. The town that it was based in was Sparta, or supposed to be based in was Sparta, Mississippi. They did go to Tennessee to film some of the outdoor scenes on the cotton plantation because there wasn't a similar location that they could film in Illinois. He would sleep with a gun under his pillow when they were there, and they received death threats from locals, from local racists. So they actually had to cut production short there and return to Illinois. So, the 60s, which was not great. So yeah. Again, good movie. Sad that crap like that had to happen, crap like that happened, but great movie to watch. I would recommend it to just about anybody. 1967, Heat of the Night, under 2 hours, goes by really quick. Fun to watch. So, I think that is it for this week, folks. Next week, we are talking about All the President's Men from 1976. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and watch that one, and I will talk to you about it next week.